Tim Cook has an empire under his name and is the current CEO of Apple, of course. Naturally, with any mega giant corporation's boss, you'd expect some flair and sass. Cook may have both of those, but he didn't display either of them when given the honor of waving F1's checkered flag. If anyone looks at that dismal display of excitement, or whatever you'd want to call it, they'd rather wish they hadn't entirely. Let's take a look. Starting off, Tim Cook made himself into a fresh meme. Apple CEO Tim Cook quickly became a social media laughingstock after his lackluster performance at the US Grand Prix. On Monday, the billionaire tech mogul was given the honor of waving the checkered flag at the Circuit of America's race. Liberty Media frequently gives VIP and celebrity guests the honor of waving the drivers across the finish line. Most people who are called up and given the honor are overjoyed, and they show it by waving the flag. Cook missed the memo. The Apple CEO was as excited to wave the checkered flag as iPhone users are when a new update is released. Next, many criticized the premiere for not being a sport. Instead of relishing the moment that any Formula One fan would die for, Cook appeared to be as pleased as you are when you arrive at Bunnings and discover that the barbecue has been packed away for the day. Ted Kravitz of Sky Sports couldn't believe what he saw from the billionaire. He went on to say that the Apple CEO may have waved the worst checkered flag in Formula One history. To add to the fire, he also commented that all the money in the world, all the iPhones and iPads, can't buy you a strong wrist and a nice action to do that. Fans quickly joined in, mercilessly trolling Cook and making him trend on social media for all the wrong reasons. Even the ESPN F1 Twitter account chimed in with a hilarious tweet saying Tim Cook needs to calm down. Someone named Pablo Elizalde went all in too, saying that someone tell Tim Cook he was waving the checkered flag, not surrendering in a war. Widely popular tech site The Verge's editor had his own techie response, saying Tim Cook waving that flag as if he has to touch a Windows PC. This one is our personal favorite. Moving on, let's talk about if the flag waving had an effect on the participants. The Apple CEO's poor performance couldn't detract from what was arguably the race of the season. Max Verstappen extended his lead at the top of the drivers' standings, crossing the line ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who had only lost first place in the final stages. Red Bull's pit crew's nightmare pit stop threw the race wide open, but Verstappen's dominance continued as he edged out Hamilton to claim his 13th win of the season. However, after the race, all fans could think about was the waving of the flag, if you can call it that. Perhaps Cook is still irritated that Netflix owns the rights to Drive to Survive, or perhaps this is his first time touching and waving a flag. Honestly, we're as confused as you are. Cook was seen with Eddie Q, who was seen by Sir Lewis Hamilton and Brad Pitt. Apple has a Hamilton documentary on Apple TV+, and Pitt is also working on a film for the platform. Cook made an unexpected appearance on the bridge as Max Verstappen crossed the finish line to claim his 13th win of the season and help Red Bull secure the Constructors' Championship after winning the Drivers' Championship in Japan. Race fans and spectators were both amused and disappointed as they watched Cook wave the checkered flag very softly at the finish line instead of facing the on-track battle for P8 between Sebastian Vettel and Kevin Magnussen. Further, more hilarious reactions to Cook's cameo in F1. A French supporter compared Cook's slowness to iPhone batteries at the end of the day, and one NASCAR writer joked that it wouldn't close his Apple Watch exercise ring. Trung Fan, a business writer, joked that Cook's lackluster performance was the result of jealousy over our previously mentioned and Netflix's success with the F1 Drive to Survive series. Earlier, Apple CEO Tim Cook was photographed in the Mercedes garage with Brad Pitt, who will star in an Apple original film about racing produced by Sir Lewis Hamilton. The joke's fire spread to TikTok, where one user set the video to music from The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion and compared Cook to a robotic NPC. You all know how hilarious Skyrim NPCs are, given their expressions are so brain dead and their movements an absolute cringe fest to watch. If Cook ever got to know just how much trolling these gamers are dishing out in regard to him, he'd definitely flip. Martin Brundle, a former driver turned reporter, didn't recognize Cook on the gridwalk and pushed past him to inspect the brakes on one of the cars, which was embarrassing for the tech boss. Fortunately for Cook, his flag waving did not overshadow an eventful day at the Circuit of the Americas, where Max Verstappen tied the record for the most victories in a single Formula One season, and Red Bull won the Constructors' Championship. Now, talking about F1 fans and their debate on the necessity of celebrities waving the checkered flag. The Formula One paddock attracts celebrities, with the rich and famous eager to spend a Sunday afternoon at an F1 team's hospitality. The United States Grand Prix last weekend was no exception, with a star-studded lineup of attendees. Everyone from Brad Pitt to Shaquille O'Neal came to see this spectacle. The checkered flag is raised at the end of the final lap of a Grand Prix, signaling the conclusion of the race. With the advancement of technology, digital flags are now used to notify drivers and fans of the race's conclusion. As a result, the actual flag waving has become a ceremonial gesture, allowing F1 to invite celebrities to this activity. Up next, the F1 subreddit was quite busy following Cook's monotonous wave. The Formula One subreddit was buzzing after the Grand Prix, with fans debating the need for celebrities to wave the flag in the first place. Many people are calling for a return to the traditional procedure of race officials performing this activity. The lack of interest in celebrities in the sport was a major topic of discussion, with users mentioning how little most celebrities care about the sport and yet get such a chance. One user suggested fellow Redditors picture celebrities being grilled by the FIA on how much they care about F1 before being allowed to wave the flag. Another user suggested letting Chico's father wave the flag because Sergio Perez's father is an all-time fan favorite. Also, should flag waving be an exclusive celebrity activity? Will the issue of whether the early checkered flag rule should be retained is likely to be discussed at a future meeting? It can't be denied that the honor of waving the checkered flag could be better used as a fan engagement opportunity. Liberty Media has been looking for ways to engage fans in the usually restrictive sport and has already increased Formula One's social media activity, as well as the number of additional attractions for fans attending a Grand Prix. Paddock passes and opportunities to meet and take photos with the teams have been given away as prizes at some Grand Prix. The chance to wave the checkered flag at the winning driver would be a simple prize for a Grand Prix spectator. The only disadvantage is that a member of the general public is likely to be less prepared to deal with any fallout from a flag-waving gaffe than a celebrity. Lastly, Cook isn't the only big name that caused quite the stir. The checkered flag was waved one lap early by another celebrity too, leaving Formula One officials red-faced at the Canadian Grand Prix. As a side note, this begs the question of why shouldn't a fan get that chance? With the Canadian Grand Prix typically consisting of 70 laps, celebrity guest Winnie Harlow was misinformed by the official starter to wave the checkered flag at the end of lap 69, when race leader Sebastian Vettel still had one lap to go. Because of the early deployment, some marshals assumed that the race was over and waved their flags in the usual cool-down lap tradition. According to the rules, an early deployment of the checkered flag is treated the same as a red flag scenario, and the official results are to be taken from one lap further back, in this case to the end of lap 68. But the organizers' blushes were spared because no position changes occurred on what would have been the final lap of the race, implying that no driver lost out in the scenario. However, Daniel Ricciardo's fastest lap was disqualified and given to Max Verstappen, who had held the title earlier in the race. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think about Tim Cook's weird flag wave? Did he let you guys down too? Let us know in the comments below. It'd be awesome if you give this video a thumbs up, and please don't forget to subscribe for more scrumptious videos like this. See you in the next one.